I've been through that. The reason I asked is because I go into my audio settings and where it says test your microphone, so I speak at a regular volume and it hardly goes up at all. Whereas what it used to do was go green right to the end. And I don't know why it doesn't do that anymore. There's nothing wrong with my microphone that I'm aware of. It's just one of those things. Anyway,
Okay,
don't
but we
worry.
hear you. Now we hear you
Yeah,
better than yesterday.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, hello everybody.
Hello.
Should we wait a few minutes or should we start? What do you think,
Yeah, but
Adrian?
better to wait other 4 or 5 minutes just to see if
We,
other members will join.
we can try um, to with my presentation um, if it functions.
Okay. So Marie-Louise, sorry, what is your proposed agenda for today?
Okay. Last in the last meeting, we have discussed the history of space philosophy, and then we began to conceptualize the space ethics, and
Okay.
especially space ethics for peace. And I will, in my presentation, also my agenda today is to give you a presentation of our work um, because Michael and I we want to yes to prepare a paper
Okay.
about space ethics and space ethics for peace, and
Great.
we have now some basic principles. Then the plan and examples. This is
Great.
my
Okay.
presentation,
Excellent.
and then we can discuss
Okay.
what to do. This is only a proposal now. It's not really yes. It's not the end of the story.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. Very good work.
But first of all, I wanted to give a very brief overview of the history of a space philosophy from antiquity. It's only a review of the presentation from the last meeting, but I think that not all of our um, participants know about this presentation of the last meeting. So I only want to give a brief overview, and then I start with space ethics.
Great. So iPhone 56, who are you?
Um, can you hear me, Adriano? This is
Yes.
Dr. Harney. Yes, that's my iPhone.
Oh, yes. Very welcome.
Thank you so much. Great to see everyone.
Okay, we have Amalie entering now, and Dinis Ribeiro. Okay.
Hello, hi. Good
Hello,
evening.
hello, Dinis.
Mm,
May we see you? Maybe.
Yes, I'm kind of walking around, but I'm going to.
Amalie. Hi. Welcome. Ghanim.
Hello, Adriano. Hello, everyone.
Happy
Oh,
to see
hello,
you.
Ghanim.
Hi, Marie-Louise.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Thanks.
Okay, so yeah, another minute, then we can maybe start.
There's a little bit of trouble here with the video
By the
feed.
way, okay, I'm sure I'm recording now because yesterday I thought I was recording, but I was not. Therefore, we don't have the video of our meeting of yesterday. However, we have the full transcript. So if you want to search for something, you can go through it and find it. And okay. Okay, Marie-Louise, if you want to start, the floor is yours.
Okay, I have the presentation, I hope so, here. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe you can go full screen.
It's now full screen.
Yes, now yes, perfect.
You can see it?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, hello everybody, and nice to be with you today. In the last meeting, we had a brief overview of the philosophy of space flight history, and somebody asked me to give a brief review about this. And then we start with space ethics and space ethics for peace. We worked out basic principles on the basis of our humanistic philosophy. And then we made a plan for a paper, and perhaps we can discuss this. Also, first, a very, very brief overview about so was it called in the last meeting, space philosophy since antiquity. I would like to take the opportunity to emphasize, I have here a short text, sorry, Adriano. This area of research was my very own discovery. I want to say this. Before it was beforehand, it was completely unknown that there is a classical philosophy of spaceflight since antiquity. I want to emphasize this, that this is really my own discovery, and I only give you a few slides. Antiquity with Plato points upwards to the heaven of ideas, and then he developed his sky chariot. Then we have the Renaissance with Giordano Bruno's philosophy of spaceflight. And I think Giordano Bruno was really the first who realized a philosophy of spaceflight on the basis of Copernicus. Then on the basis of Giordano Bruno, and also with referring to Nicolaus von Kues, the first science fiction utopias in the 17th century were written from Johannes Kepler, Francis Godwin, John Wilkins, Cyrano de Bergerac. And there my work was to show that these science fiction utopias were written on the basis of the philosophy of Giordano Bruno and also Nicolaus von Kues, also Cusanus. Then German classicism with Schelling as the founder of classical nature philosophy, and also Romanticism. Then the space Romanticism, especially in the field of arts and literature. Here are some of the philosophers I examined: Plato, Johannes Scotus Eriugena, Nicolaus von Kues, Pico della Mirandola, Giordano Bruno, Immanuel Kant, Friedrich Wilhelm Joseph Schelling, Konstantin Eduardowitsch Tsiolkovsky, Max Scheler, Helmut Plessner, Günther Andersen, Hans Blumenberg. They all had an impact on the philosophy of spaceflight since antiquity. So this was only a very, very few overview to show what the real core of my research work is, and this was also the core of my work at the Technical University in Braunschweig since 2002. Okay, our last meeting you can see here on YouTube. I have the link here, and here's a brief summary of our last meeting in the history of space philosophy and philosophy of space flight since antiquity. I gave you a brief review. Then we had discussed the movement for a weapons-free moon, but I think that this movement for a weapons-free moon is now going over to the movement for a UN flag on the moon. Then we had touched international law, UN Charter, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Corpus, and Outer Space Treaty. And our first idea was to took Immanuel Kant's treatise on perpetual peace from 1795 for conceptualizing space ethics, because Kant's treatise from 1795 was one basis for the UN Charter from 1945. I think this is seen by a lot of historians of philosophy. Okay, Immanuel Kant, Kant's ethics is deontological ethics of reason, and I have, you can here read below that there are a lot of other ethics, especially is the deontological ethics contrasted with teleological ethics, such as utilitarianism or consequentialist theories, Aristotelian virtue ethics, and so on. But I think that Space Renaissance International is not fixed on one ethical doctrine and represents a mixture of all of them. But we try now to give yes, a new form, perhaps, of space ethics, which is not so elaborated. Also here, sorry. No. Genau, our objectives are a paper on space ethics for peace for the IAC. This was a request from Bernard, also for the IAC in Antalya next year. And a paper on space ethics for peace for Corpus. This was a request from Artiola Maini. I had the opportunity to speak to her, I think last year. Yes. Okay. Okay, space ethics, state of research, and our new approach to norms and values of human action with regard to space advocacy. There are a lot of ethics, I mentioned it, and there are also some books about these topics published in the last years. And our first idea was to give you a brief overview of these books published to date, and give you perhaps also an evaluation of the content of the books. But we think that it is best to give you a description of these books at our next meeting, because it is a bit an academic starting to give, first of all, an overview of the books published to date. So we start with our ideas for our principles for space ethics. And our goal, in line with 3 principles, is to create a space ethics primarily from the perspective of humanistic civil space development. This is a new approach initiated primarily by Adriano Autino.
Thank you.
Yes. Then, space ethics from the perspective of humanistic civil space development. I have changed it a bit. This is the structure of my presentation now. First, the basic principles of humanistic space ethics, then the systematization of the humanistic space ethics, and then at the last point, some important examples. Okay, basic principles of humanistic space ethics. Here's first as a motto, a very nice, I think, very nice quotation out of one books of Max Valier from 1925. Never can the human being content itself with what has been achieved or with what is easily attained. From the very beginning, an innermost compulsion has driven it to attempt the seemingly impossible. And indeed, there is nothing unnatural about this. For this striving is merely the living expression of our essence, which demands an ever higher and more perfect unfolding of its mode of existence. I think in this quotation you can see a core of humanistic philosophy. So, a space renaissance international starting point is the humanistic anthropology, and the space ethic has to start with humanistic anthropology, and this are, I think, the 2 main principles. First, trans-utilitarian space ethics. Creativity of the human being means this is the center of humanistic anthropology, requires space for the living expression of its essence. This is a very essential formulation. Then the unfolding of its mode of existence. Also, in German, it's a bit more philosophical, Entfaltung seiner Daseinsweise. In modern terms, this means for the creativity of the human being, space is needed for self-manifestation and self-realization. And this is a metaphysical and existential requirement beyond utilitarian space ethics of survival or resources or economic benefit. Okay, the second point, the second basic principle of a humanistic space ethics for peace could be if every human being is given the if every human being is given the opportunity to develop and exercise its creative talents, to unfold its mode of existence, conflicts may be eliminated or be greatly reduced. Perhaps domination may persist, I think. This is impossible in a steady state or a zero-sum game. So now the second point is the systematization. I have 6 points. Humanistic space ethics under the perspective under the perspective of space advocacy. This is for the paper. Brief political history, international law, UN Charter, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Immanuel Kant's treatise on perpetual peace, his ethics, and the movement for a UN flag on the moon. Then in the second point, theories of space ethics, an overview. Then in a third point, classical humanistic anthropology and natural philosophy from Plato to Plessner. Then as a fourth point, basic principles of humanistic space ethics. And I showed you two basic principles. I think these two are really fundamental. Then five, some important examples. Trans-terrestrial orientation as drivers of peace. Free access to space means the right to visit. This is an idea which is originally from Immanuel Kant, from this famous essay on perpetual peace from 1795. But in the Corpus meeting about the moon landscape, a delegate from China proposed this as a following principle from the free access to space from the Outer Space Treaty. I give you afterwards some more information about this. Okay, some important examples in the trans-terrestrial orientation as drivers of peace and free access to space as the right to visit. Then how to build trust in international relations and free development versus bureaucracy. I cannot read this because here I have here. It's went to. Okay, it's yet. Oh no. Okay, went. No. Okay, now I can read it. Sorry. Also how to build trust in international relations, also based on Kant, then free development and its obstacles, bureaucracy, overregulation, technocracy, and ideology. And there are also philosophical obstacles, phenomenology, fundamental ontology, and other philosophical currents. Okay, and this is the sixth point, expanding the perspective. Space ethics for peace on Earth, space ethics for peace in space, also living spaces. There's also a point which was made by Dinis regarding human rights and the semantic of human rights in this in living spaces. Then space ethics for relations between Earth and the colonies, the habitats, and space ethics for relations between space colonies. So you have there a broadening of perspective in relation to space ethics. These are some topics for humanistic space ethics. As a creativity, as self-manifestation, self-realization through space, freedom through civil space development, peace, prosperity, expanding horizons and knowledge, trans-terrestrialism, and the expansion of modes of perception and categories of thought, metaphysics, the new answers to fundamental questions, who are we and what is the meaning of it all? Why does something exist rather than nothing? This is the foundational question from Leibniz to show what that metaphysics is not a static and dogmatical theory, but that we have to understand why does something exist rather than nothing. Why does it exist? And this is, I think, a philosophical question we cannot really answer, but it is, yes, as a question, it means that we can transcend the universe as a whole in our mind. Okay, 8 ethics of joy. Realms of experience through outer space as a happiness is an important point in the U.S. Constitution, but is also in a non-hedonistic meaning a point of the new Pope Leo the 14th ethics of joy. Then 9 spirituality, the awareness of existence, houses of God, and prayer, church, perhaps churches on the moon. Okay, then we can discuss after my presentation. Are there other chapters, or can we, can we delete some of these points? Okay, some important examples. I have 8 examples, but I will make it short. Also, I think a really interesting point is that free access, which is established as a principle in the Outer Space Treaty, could be understood or could be understood as right to visit. And right to visit was a proposal of a delegate from China at the UN Corpus. And I think that this delegate from China knows that this is a central principle of Kant's philosophy of peace. The delegate from China asked the other delegates on the podium where they are discussing about peace principles, and nobody in the podium on the table knows something about this right to visit, and they couldn't answer to the question of this Chinese delegate. But I've realized it suddenly. Yes, I know Kant's theory. This right to visit is Immanuel Kant's hospitability. I think I read this. Okay. For Immanuel Kant, hospitality. For Immanuel Kant, hospitality is a central element of cosmopolitanism, which he develops on perpetual peace, based on the right of every human being to travel to foreign countries and to be treated hospitably there, not as a claim to permanent residence, but as a right not to be received with hostility as long as one remains peaceful, a universal form of respect for human rights beyond philanthropy and a foundation for world peace. Key points of this Kant's right of hospitality are first, world citizenship. The right of hospitality is part of a more comprehensive world citizenship to which all people are entitled. Right to visit. Every person has the right to enter the earth and stay on the soil of another country, not to be received with hostility. The hosts may not treat the stranger with hostility or expel them as long as they behave peacefully, but may reject them if this is possible without causing their downfall. It's no philanthropy. This rite is not about pity or charity, but rather a right of strangers and a duty of hospitality that arises from reason. Also Kant's philosophy or Kant's ethics is a ethics of reason and not of a utilitarian middle and as a consequentialist theory. Then the last point, sorry, can I read my paper? Okay, peacemaking. Kant sees this as a foundation for lasting world peace, as it places relations between peoples on a legal basis. Okay, this is Kant's philosophy of hospitality. I think this is also had an impact on other philosophies in France. In France, for example, on Derrida, one of the main philosophers of post-structuralism, and also in the philosophy of law, this right to visit is a central point which is discussed. Okay, the third example, trans-terrestrial orientation as drivers of peace. I have here two examples. The rocket pioneer Max Valier, after First World War, in 1928, wrote, "Everyone should fly into space to look at Earth from the outside, especially all politicians." This is before the overview effect from Frank White, and Frank White had this unfold in a very profound way. This is the only a slogan. Everyone should fly into space to look at Earth from the outside, especially all politicians. Then the co-founder of philosophical anthropology in the 1920s, Helmut Plessner, he had the idea, his main philosophical concept is that humans are characterized by eccentric positionality, and therefore on this principle, yes, you can draw the other principle that human beings are free to choose and transform their environment. They are not they are not in a matrix Plessner, who was this founder of philosophical anthropology, wrote after the Second World War in 1947, "Humanity should go to space to direct its energies vertically rather than horizontally against each other." I think this is also very important idea to go to space, because we have to canalize our energies vertically and not to go as a war against all horizontally. Okay, sorry about my English. It's very, very good. I hope you can understand me. Yes, a fourth example is the planetary perspectives in the Renaissance. I think it's also in art a very beautiful example that in the Renaissance they had not only the perspective of birds, as the bird's perspective, but also a planetary perspective. And I think this was also a result of the philosophy of Nicolaus of Cusanus, and Giordano Bruno was later. Huh? Yes, the fifth example, joy as a driver of peace. I wanted only to hint to this text of Pope also Leo the 14th. Okay, he said, the more joy you share, the more joy you create. And in this way, through your pursuit of knowledge, each of you can contribute to building a more peaceful and just world. Also, he connected joy as a not as a hedonistic concept, but joy as a hedonistic concept to peace. And I think this is also very interesting to think about that. Okay, then trust building in international relations is also a very important point in Immanuel Kant and so in his on perpetual peace, honesty and trustfulness. No peace, also he wrote, no peace agreement should be concluded with the secret intention of preparing for a new war. Also we should to act in an honest and truthful way to another, especially in diplomacy. This is the 7 points: creative freedom, world domination, technocracy, and bureaucracy. The obstacles to creative development. And Kant already opposed supranational world domination. And it is interesting, I think, to see which successful projects ultimately failed due to bureaucracy and ideology. And I have found a lot of examples. I think less bureaucracy and fewer restrictive regulations are needed, especially in Europe. I don't know how it is in the US or in the other nations. This is one of the examples which failed. This was the Thales Enterprise company. This was really Europe's first space tourism company who tried to have a place to start their rocket machines with this here you can see it with this spaceship. But many companies failed due to bureaucracy and ideology, and also this company I had in the first draft I had more about this special company. It's really a shame that this company has so many problems with bureaucracy and ideology. Okay, there are I think many other examples we could perhaps examine this for the paper Space Ethics. Okay, this I think that's it. I hope you could understood me, and thank you very much for your attention.
Wow.
I can.
Beautiful presentation. I've taken some notes, and I think it's this is a very important work, and I think the most important work for our Congress, because you know that Space and Essence was founded as a philosophical association. Therefore, this is our main work, of course. And so thank you very much, Marie-Luise, for putting in our kitchen this fantastic cooking.
Yes, thank you very much.
if I can use this term just to not to be much, emphatic.
Gender, I know gender problematic.
Yeah. And yeah, I just took some notes because in my opinion, you are really uh, going through the track that we are working on. I'm speaking about myself and about Alberto, and in our thesis. I don't know if you already have had a look to the draft that I circulated in these days. The first draft is incomplete and so on, but however, all the points some of the points you are touching are also in the thesis development, of course, from more from a political point of view than philosophical. However, okay, that is so. Just what I wanted to note now, that's my first look at your gigantic work that you have undertaken. Some points that resonates very much with me, and the first one is the self manifestation and self-realization. That is, very near to what we say about Abraham Maslow with the hierarchical needs pyramid, and the need to consider not only the basic needs of the humans that are to have food and shelter and so on, but also the highest needs that are exactly self-realization and reach their own objectives that are very, very different because we are 8.5 billion people, individuals, different one each other. And so I think, yes, this is it's a very important point. The second thing that I have noted is the reference to what is the name of the philosopher? Plessner, maybe Plessner,
Mhm.
who spoke about driving energy vertically and not horizontally fighting each other. So I just initiated today trying to write a newsletter called "The Brave and the Cowards," and just to reject the point that too many are giving now, that it seems that if one refuses the war is a weak and coward. That is completely false from the points of view of ethics, because the real brave are trying to go outside, to go hike and to go outside to look for resources outside for everybody. And the real cowards remain on earth to fight each other, to trying to win the remaining resources that are on this planet. So we have to put in the right perspective who are the brave and who are the cowards.
Yes.
I'm trying to put something together, not very long, just one page, a newsletter. And when I have a draft, I will circulate it because it's very important that we feel it, the very good concepts from the ethical point of view. Then I also want to recall what we were doing a couple of years ago. Then we interrupted it because there were too many things to do, and it was when we tried to make no, we also made an initial lecture on utopia, on the concept of a new utopia for for the space age, no, and I think this was already very much oriented to the theory of the joy that you are putting together from the Pope, Lion, and from other authors that are talking about that. And I can also now put in this chapter, if you like, Howard Bloom and the concept of his concept of flamboyance.
Yes.
That is
Thank you very much.
is to be considered in the frame of the natural history, the history of nature development, and because Howard Bloom says that nature is not greed at all. Nature is very keen to spend a lot of resources to what is the goal of nature to put in the reality an extremely high number of different experiments. And from this parallel development, and here I could also recall Robert Pirsig, that's another one who spent very much words in defense of the parallel thinking and not serialized, no, not bureaucratically serialized thing, but parallel. That is a competition, but of course we want to be a fair competition where nobody dies, where the losers have, however, their profit. So this is something that should be built, starting from Kant and from the pillars that you are mentioning. But we should try to save concepts for today, for our situation today. And yeah, this I think this work is beautiful, and I like very much that you initiated it.
Michael Schumann is a person who is very familiar with Plessner and with the modern, with the 1920s. Plessner is a person who, a philosopher who created the philosophical anthropology. It's in great letters. Sorry, as a philosophical anthropology, and he was one of the first there in this group who also reflected the space movement in Germany at that time. And I think perhaps Michael, you can say something about Plessner, perhaps. Plessner is a very interesting person, as a very interesting philosopher in this whole context.
Could you stop sharing, maybe, so we can see each
yes,
other?
I have to. Where I have to.
Still sharing? You have a red button somewhere.
No, I have no red button. This is the
Yes.
problem.
On the Zoom dashboard, you have a red button.
I have
Stop.
audio, video, chat, layout.
But you don't have the green share button because you are sharing. So you should
Yes, the green button. I have the green button, but not the red button.
Okay, I think I can terminate it for you.
Also, okay, perhaps here. No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. However, I have seen in the chat that Dinis was writing a lot of things, so maybe he could have something to add. Dinis, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Indeed, I was just to let everyone know. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to participate in the philosophical debate, and so these three small contributions. The first one, there was a conference from European Space Agency about Europe ready for the moon. And during the debate, this professor, Stefan Selke, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it, he spoke very slowly, but he really came up with something that was very thought-provoking. He was speaking about the narrative and this whole idea of becoming multiplanetary species, some sort of survival drive. And he argued that maybe there would be a different way of thinking about it. And I don't remember exactly the words. I'm going to look it up again. But he said something about the departure or a natural migration, but as in a completely different, no anxiety, no fear, just a natural expansion. The way he picked the words really conveyed a different point of view, which I think is interesting. Then, very briefly, when I was studying political science at the University of Texas at Austin, long time ago, back in 1985, one of the books I read for my homework was this one. And he had this constrained speech where no one could say that they were better than the other. And he had some scenarios with spacecraft and very deep moral, ethical dilemmas. And I think it was, well, anyways, it's there. And then from my two presentations, I've been exploring this idea of the technium. They're on my YouTube presentations in some more detail, but here it's slightly more organized. And I'm thinking about those topics as well, and on the philosophical implications, the shifts the human role, moves us from creators, controllers, to participants within a larger evolving system, suggesting a symbiotic relationship. The idea that the spacecraft will go there with us or without us, I don't know. It's just it has similarities with the first point I mentioned during that debate, the societal importance of space exploration for Europe, which I thought it was very interesting because the professor that was speaking, he said that a lot of people had a very negative or depressed vision, like their space exploration is almost like a lifeboat on the sinking Titanic, and he argued that's really not necessarily the only way to look at it, and it was very refreshing. I found, anyways. So quickly, those were some contributions that.
Thank you very much. This is very interesting. I know this debate about the narratives. It's from sociology, I think. The main person is from the sociology in Bonn, and his idea is, I think, that we don't should follow the narrative of anthropocentrism. Also, not. We should not say, "Oh, we have to go to space because we have to yes to." Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes,
Do you
yes, yes.
understand what I mean? We should not go to space because we have to live and not to be destroyed from asteroid and so on. But we should say this should be the narrative that it would a benefit for the Earth as a whole, not only for the people, not only for human beings, but for the biosphere as a whole. And I think this is really a good idea because it's an old idea. It's an old narrative because Tsiolkovsky had this idea since the 19th century that we should go to space also to help the Earth, not only the human beings. Okay, thank you very much.
This is Frank White. Is Frank White also position?
Yes.
Frank White, because he says, we have to go to space because we love Earth, not because we want to abandon Earth.
Yeah.
No. This is also a teleological argumentation from Frank White. But this narrative, I think, had a bit another connotation, another meaning, because if you say we want to help the Earth, not because we want to reduce pollution and so on, but because we want to help Earth to expand the biosphere.
Yeah.
To expand the biosphere. It's another idea. It's not. It's not protection. It's not protection, but
it's a natural growth. Yes.
The
Russian spacecraft, they looked like spherical structures and almost biological in a way. The design, the geometry. Quickly, I just on my presentation, I also spoke about Rankism. Which is an interesting aspect of some things that were discussed about the geometry, who's on top, who's below, the whole cognitive vision of the universe with which is a 1G mindset. Anyways, and also finally on my presentation, I also mentioned William Sims Bainbridge, that wrote The Spaceflight Revolution, and he became an expert on the study of cults, and he was able to become a part of that science fiction cult, what was it, the Church of something, the Scientology, I think. And he has really very thought-provoking comments on the sociology of the and nowadays with SpaceX and Elon Musk reading Werner von Braun and all that, it seems like 2.0 or 3.0 or but it's very, there's the book is interesting because if one replaces Elon Musk with Werner von Braun, or switch them around, the fractal structure of the dynamics in a way is not entirely different, I think, maybe. So anyways, just those are on my first presentation.
Are you interested to write our paper with us together?
I would like to add a little input, because the way I put it on the YouTube is visually appealing, but is not very well structured. And I think sometimes what I was trying to get across may sort of not be conveyed in a crystal clear way. Yes, I would love to.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Just a question. When you say Scientology, you mean the Ron Hubbard church?
Yes.
Okay. Because
he went undercover. No, he went undercover. He became he's really like Thor Heyerdahl with the Kon-Tiki. He's like really trying to understand. It's very interesting, his work, I think.
Sorry. I sorry if I interrupt. First of all,
Please.
Scientology is a very dangerous cult that has been several times to be
Exactly,
fought.
precisely.
Very controversial. Very
Very
Yes,
controversial.
controversial
yes,
and very dangerous because it's been considered very oppressive to all those who entered the cult, and many
absolutely.
people had difficulties in getting out. They
Exactly.
were there was persecution against those
Mhm.
who adhered to the cult and then get out. Speak very good in their books and so, but it is a very dangerous cult that was never possible to close. But it is a sect. It is
I
very,
wouldn't
very,
bring
very extremely dangerous.
I wouldn't bring it up in this context. There's really a razor's edge there. They're very funny lot and very badly. The opinion, opinion of them is very, very bad. They're really rejected. I wouldn't discuss Scientology in this context. I
No,
think.
no. The work from Sims Bainbridge, if you go, the Wikipedia article is a bit superficial, but you see there's a certain logic to his. He was really very brave. He got death threats and all kinds of things, and he did almost like investigative journalism type thing. But the thing is, it's not impossible that some space settlements will be. I hope not, but it's to me nowadays even more. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that some cult will will get somewhere. Okay,
Well, if you want to go there, we had Heaven's Gate or something.
I
I mean,
know, no,
it's
no,
very
no.
difficult stuff.
Yeah,
You should
mhm.
be very cautious about
Of course,
opening
of
these
course,
kinds
of course.
of issues. My recommendation.
By all means, no, certainly. But yes, and I think
We don't
since
need this.
Bainbridge,
We don't need this. But I think Dinis can help us. I can yes helpful for describing these narratives being discussed in the European Space Agency, and so on.
I think it's very important for Europe actually to change a little bit the because there's that French expression "qui s'excuse s'accuse." It's like we're so apologetic. I'm so sorry. You got to try to go. Yes, you should be.
It's not a matter of accusing or not accusing. It's the fact that it's a very negative opinion. You want people to be sympathetic to your point of view. If you want to discuss very negative, aspects of things, cults and so on. It's
No,
not
I do not.
really
I do not.
compatible with
No, no, no. No,
the
actually, I was just.
humanistic philosophical dialogue. I
There
don't
is
No,
think.
no.
there is always a difference, a big difference, sometimes big difference between the original creator of something and the other one that have developed
Yeah, but you can't tell
because
whether
Ron Hubbard, I
differentiation
think
is.
Ron Hubbard had some good concepts in the beginning. And also, I was very impressed when I was very much younger than now by the work of Alain Van Vogt. Van Vogt is a science fiction writer. I think.
Yes, and he got a settlement with the lawyers because
And it was and I was very stroke yeah stroke by the concept of non-A, because the most famous book of Van Vogt is the non-A. That means non-Aristotelian, because all the concept, philosophical concept of this book, non-A, is that if you look at two printed A letters, if you look in, with the lens, you will find differences. So you cannot say A is equal to A, because A is never equal to A. There are differences, and this is the root of an analytical mind. that should not, an analytical mind should never be satisfied by a superficial analysis, but between two things, but an analytical mind should go deeper and analyze the real differences that always exist between two things. And so this concept of the non-Aristotelian principle is so important that let me say, oriented all of my work, even in my professional work as a software programmer, that I learned to write software in a quite different way, because I organized my mind to always be very analytical in the details and to see where are the differences, you know. And so for this, I think that some concepts in that thread, let me say, with Van Vogt and Ron Hubbard and so on, there are some good concepts. But the problem is that the ones who developed the Ron Hubbard ideas later, they was criminals, definitely criminals, because they were stealing a lot of money to the poor people who were
Yes,
entering
yes. No doubt
the
about
field.
that. Let me just try to convey the following. The book itself, The Space Flight Revolution, was written as his thesis, and it's before he delved into other issues, such as that phenomenon that became very nightmarish. And the thing, though, is that on the Space Flight Revolution, he starts with examining the philosophical concept that that I like, the idea of a natural growth, this technium, and the idea that someone would have invented these rockets, if not person A or B, then person C, someone would have done it. And he argues that maybe that's how it was supposed to be. However, he argues that quite the opposite. There are revolutionary people that change everything, and he argues that Werner von Braun was one of them, and it's violent and it's a revolution, and the evolution of spaceflight has starts and stops and goes and becomes very different from what it should have been, like on the old movie about the future, the black and white movie when they only go to the moon much later, and the thing is that I think the book itself, one has to read the book, but he predicted what was going to happen with Apollo 20, and he predicted there would not be any manned missions to the moon for decades. And they said, "Oh, this is your, you just." I think it was his thesis when he got the degree in sociology. And he says, "Oh, that's really think so." And he says, "Yes, there won't be because of this, and that." And so, anyways, so I don't want to dwell on it, but I thought his thesis was critical, incisive, and thought-provoking. That's all. Okay, sorry.
Wait, Adriano, can we get back to this Peace in Space chat with Marie-Luise? I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
Yeah?
Please, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know a lot about the discipline, the philosophical discipline, but you mentioned teleological ethics, how do you say that? Unitarianism, the utility of objects, yes, and consequential ethics. Now, I'd like to know if those kinds of concepts might be applicable to what I believe we're facing, which is where the utilitarianism of space usage is going to override the humanistic aspect of space usage. In other words, we're going to get militarization because it's utilitarian, but we're not going to get humanistic space development. Now, it's never really been an attempt to utilize philosophical logic against military organisms, if you like. And I don't know if it's appropriate, but I do know that a track is being developed, within a thesis or some other location where we could get inside the philosophy of whatever militarization might be, because this very destructive wave of technological innovation is on the horizon. And, we could maybe get in front of it a bit, or at least argue some case, and that was one question. And I think it also ties into your message here, Max Valier. Is it striving is the living essence, the expression of the living essence, the striving. But this is a universal striving. No nation wants warfare. No nation, no peoples, nobody anywhere wants destruction. But it perpetuates. So, the striving for the living essence is a very important indicator that, I believe there may be responsiveness if we could put a logical argument that included some of these, a priori philosophical concepts that could also be applied to the, current situation, in the context of militarization and space weapons and so on. I think that might be valid, but yeah.
Yes, I think the 2 points are very important. The logic of militarization in this framework of ethical arguments or ethical theories. I think this is a very important point to look to militarization logic from the point of view of different space ethics theories. Also consequentialism, utilitarianism, and so on. This is the first point. And the second, in this quote from Max Valier, so is his name, Valier, he's an Austrian, he was born in Austria, and when he spoke of the living essence of our being, then he do not mean the living essence in an biological, not in biological terms.
Oh, the
That is
expression of
human beings is creativity, and creativity is not a biological. It's not a biological phenomenon for Max Valier. Okay.
Those kinds of concepts.
It's not Darwinism, Okay.
No, they're very universal concepts. You find them in all the Asian philosophies and everywhere. They're not just Christian concepts. You're talking about philosophy from the Western point of view, but this conversation should extend into all realms. There's no reason why philosophy and religion and ethics couldn't create that turning point in human history that turned the face away from this particular energy. And I think it would be quite easily done if we brought forward the right rationales, we made the right connections. We talk about legislation and treaty making and agreements, international agreements and so on. But the space weapons ban is there. It's available. It just needs reinforcing in the right way.
Yes, I know. This was my point in the meetings last year, 2024, in our space law meeting. I brought in the proposals of Russia and China to and so on. But I think our starting point was that we wanted to look for the humanistic tradition of philosophy. And we started with antiquity, but we can broaden it to other to the Asian area, philosophies and so on. But I'm not so a specialist of Indian philosophy and Chinese philosophy, but I think perhaps we can look for traditions of a humanistic philosophy in this in this broader context.
Alberto is raising his hand since Alberto maybe
I
wants.
had another question. One other question. You talk about
Sorry, let
oh, sorry.
Alberto is raising his hand since
Oh, right. Okay.
maybe
Yeah.
15 minutes
Yeah. No.
later.
Yeah.
I
Go
think I
ahead,
raised my hand at the
Alberto.
beginning of the. Anyway, I just wanted to say that in our thesis, it's very important to put a strong philosophical basis, and that is why if you read my comments on on the thesis, I don't want to be flat on Maslow. That is not a relevant, in my opinion, is not a relevant figure philosophically. We should use a sound philosophical basis, and so it's very important that we put in our thesis a philosophical introduction, not very long, but a synthesis, a philosophical synthesis at the beginning of the main part, after the introduction or inside the introduction. It was what I wanted to say at the beginning. Then I was
Yes,
distracted by the
I
thing of.
think I
very,
think
very good point.
I think Maslow is underevaluated as a philosopher because
I think
he's very much better as a philosopher than as a psychologist, I think.
it's very old hat, Adriano. Maslow's kind of sociologist or something.
He's old, but
Sorry,
he's
sorry, Adriano.
okay.
Adriano,
Okay.
Maslow is a behaviorist. So
Yes.
it's
Oh well.
Yeah.
behaviorism is outdated.
Yeah, I think it's out
I
there.
think maybe that could be his guilt. I don't know that to be a behaviorist. However, what the
Kind
things
of
he
sort of
says,
high school stuff, isn't
the
it?
things he says are very important because first of all, even talking about psychology, he says we are not able to cure the illness, but we are able to see the sanity and to take it and try to systemize it and to learn from the best practices and try to systemize it. And that's a very good philosophy. This is
Adriano, there is a tradition. Psychology is much more than that.
of
So,
course, of course.
so you are referring to an author because you know him, but
Yes.
there are hundreds of other authors that are
Well,
more
it's
important.
Yes, yes, I know,
it's
I
really
know.
creepy.
However, I think that even is most important work, that is the pyramid of the needs. This is very much better than the Marxist theory, because the Marxist theory only talk about the lowest, the basic needs that are important, of course, but Maslow consider all the needs, including the highest one, not only the basic one. So for this, I think that this is very important. And when we try to design a philosophy or a utopy for this age, I think this is the right way to see the reality, to think about all the
Yes,
human.
Adriano, it is not the first.
So
It
this
was
is my
philosophers talked about this for thousands of years before him. I
Right.
okay.
just wanted to say that.
Yes.
And
Right.
I have to say, this hierarchical model, I don't like this hierarchical model because you have to see the person as a whole, and
Yes.
I think you cannot make this stages.
Segmentation.
It's
Yes.
very,
Yes, yes. So
very
Marie-Louise
Well, but the
synthesized.
segmentation is just a way to see it. It's not a.
No, no, Adriano, because it is a concept.
It's
This is based on the fact that he wanted to base everything on biology due to his background. But as Marie-Louise is saying, it's not a hierarchy of different levels. It's more complex than that. And we should put this work about space ethics that Marie-Louise has done is a basics of
don't
our
conflate
physics.
it. It's very complicated.
Okay, no, yeah, I know it's complicated, and
It's a bit,
we cannot claim to simplify it too much, of course, but yeah, I think that the point of happiness, of what I call active happiness, and is important. And to be happy, we need to have the possibility to pursue our self-realization. And that is important. That is why we need to go to space, because without space we don't have this possibility. And Marie-Louise is right, because she wrote it maybe in the first slide, her first slide today, that we need to go to space in order to be able to self-realize ourselves, and that's the important thing. And of course, not only Maslow said that, maybe to
By the
many
way,
other.
sorry, about Maslow and the pyramid. The author about the concept of rankism on the cover of his book, he has a pyramid with someone sitting on top and everyone underneath. So the geometry is there as well. I just wanted to quickly expand just a little note. Both my parents already passed away many years ago. The thing is, when I was a kid, they were members of the Mediterranean Ethnopsychiatry or Social Psychiatry Association. And I remember when I was 12 years old being driven around the various cities in Greece, in Italy, and in Spain, elsewhere. And anyways, what's insane in one society is perfectly normal elsewhere. And now, given the current world, I just wanted to point out that this moon is a harsh mistress. Elon Musk loves that book, and many other people are doing it, something along those lines already. And the what happens in that book, where the people on the moon, they look down on Earth. Okay. Anyways, but it's just another angle to explore potentially the mental health. And there is a medical doctor in Chicago that has a whole bibliographic work where they consider war as a disease, and it's a form of madness.
it's like bubonic plague or something.
Sorry.
So it's like bubonic plague, I mean, we're the medieval ages, and we've got to come out of this. So humanity can't go on having wars and wars and wars. It's not logical. Why should we kill each other? We're human beings, not.
This medical doctor uses the techniques used to control epidemics, to control violence. I'll just share the link. It's just a bibliographic reference, but it's just an angle of the fatalism in Portugal. There's a lot of fatalism. I really don't like fatalistic ideas too much, but anyways, that's just a contribution.
I think it's trauma. I think every time there's a war, it creates such huge psychological trauma in the deep unconscious and fear. The
Yes.
dominance of the technology is carrying this thing.
Like the virus that mutates. Yeah, but it's. I just think it's refreshing to look at it as a disease. And in science fiction stories like Star Trek, they say, "Oh, there used to be wars." It's just,
that will be
like Arthur C. Clarke, a failure of imagination. Why can we not imagine?
Okay. Yeah, you look back on it like people look back on the bubonic plague. I mean, it's like something horrible that human history has to divest itself of this thing. It's not necessary. There are adequate surveillance techniques, there's adequate interchange techniques, there's adequate diplomacy, there's adequate everything. It's not necessary. There's an intelligence in there that denies the reality of this thing. It's just falling into chaos, disintegration of human values. It's not necessary. And I don't want to scream and shout. I mean, I didn't come here to yell at everybody. I'm so sorry. But Marie-Luise, I did have one other question, if you have time. Is there time?
Okay.
Oh, all right.
5 minutes.
Oh, well, anyway, it was just regarding, you mentioned bureaucracy, oh God, some other bureaucracy,
World domination.
technocracy, and some other bureaucracy, technocracy, and some other types of oppressive sort of regimes, over-regulation and so on. So the question really was if you consider I mean, I've been advocating for the modernization of the UN, that they should actually use technology to modernize space services. But that somehow that's been sort of misinterpreted as a wish to create regulation, which it isn't. It's just a wish to distribute information. I mean, I wondered if there was really any reason to suppose that if the UN adopted a format of, serious format of technical utilization where there was linked to things like space situational awareness, registration of objects, possibly that would be connected to the space weaponization issues and so on. I mean, there are models in there. Do those
Amalie, I think this is so an important topic that we should make another meeting, space philosophy committee meeting about this topic.
Yeah, that would be very wonderful if you could.
Because we cannot solve this problem now in 5 minutes. And as my impression is that, and I know it from the European Commission and the European bureaucracy, that if they have a technological tool to to control and to regulate the industrial and other human activities, they do it, and the goal is not, I think, not always to support growth, but always, as not always, but often degrowth and degrowth and post-growth and green growth. This is a whole issue, not only in Europe, but in the EU bureaucracy based on the Club of Rome, but it's also an issue in the UN, and therefore I'm very suspicious to create too much
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that utilization could actually work against technocracy. Information sharing, information distribution is not something that supports technological oversight. It doesn't necessarily.
But it is not only information sharing. That's the point.
Well, why not? I mean, I don't understand why.
That is the point. I can
give. Right, okay, some other time. Yes.
I can. Yes, we have to discuss this in another time. But can you give an example? Not now, but can you give an example? And can write to you an email how this function to have a technology and then to control and to regulate and to suppress the company activities.
Yeah, but why can't the UN create an
I not now. I cannot discuss this now.
Yeah. This is a topic for the space policy. committee, not for the philosophy committee.
So I think it's also a very important point for
Yes,
philosophy, because it's political philosophy. You have the Leviathan von Hobbes, which is another. You have the super domination, and then you have all the peoples who are fighting against other. This was Hobbes' idea. We need a supremacy to control all these people
Not what the concept is, Marie-Luise. You
fighting against each
misunderstand
other.
that.
And
It's
an old philosophical theory of politics. But this we have in the political philosophy we have also, like in space ethics, we have theories which are pillars, and
yeah, I think it could all be integrated.
I wanted only to say that this is also a topic for philosophy, not only for.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. But if
Why
we
not?
have a meeting at the Space Policy Committee, then maybe you can join, and I mean we can sort this out. I think we could develop a model, a usable model, and I'm thinking that could be part of the 18th SDG propositions. It could
I think it's very important to establish principles for this technological progress.
There have to be principles, the AI ethics, all sorts of things. Yeah, to avoid.
I think it's an important issue for space ethics. Yes.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll have further discussion if Adriano can arrange something sometime.
If I might ask, it was you did mention that the United Nations needed modernizing, right?
Yes, badly. They got no money.
I totally agree.
They get 10 million a year for the NUSA budget. It's absolutely pathetic. I mean, it's technocrats raising 13 billion in 5 weeks on the stock exchange or something. I mean, it's crazy,
Truly. Anyways, I did put on the chat the work from that medical doctor, Gary Slutkin. He was able to control violence in a very dangerous neighborhood in Chicago. And it's just thought-provoking. What if it's possible to cure violence? And anyways, he has even there's a link there. It's just a bibliographical reference. But I wonder, more likely than not, there has been other people throughout the ages that thought about something along these lines. And I really don't know enough about the history of philosophy. But there has to be some other ideas along these lines. Because anyways, they just basically use the same method that was used with COVID, and they say it's non-judgmental. They don't take sides. They just say they have to keep it apart because it's like
it goes on and on and on. One regulation after another, telling people how to live.
It's a pandemic. It's a pandemic, indeed. Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Oh gosh.
Okay, Adriano.
Yeah.
I think we can end this meeting now. Or?
I just want to add one thing that I think in the ethical discourse, we should also talk about environmental issues, not only from the point of view that going into space, we will benefit all the Earth biome and so on. This is the first point. But the second point is that we shouldn't be we should put together a concept that we are in favor of an active policy with regard to the environmental issues. That we shouldn't regress our industrial development, but we should react in a positive way to the environmental issues, and also use space for that.
It needs to be channeled in the right way.
There were some design, some concepts drafted by Kraft Erike, for instance, about lunette, and in order to put shields in orbit to cold some areas of the ocean, for instance, and or on the other side, if some glaciation will come, we can use reflectors to heat, to warm. So I think it should be important to react to the policy, the negative policy that Europe has undertaken in the last 20, 30 years.
Perhaps, but I think we should first of all focus on the positive side of the space ethics, on the basis of humanistic principles. I think this is a great work to be done, and I think the other fights with the environmentalists, I think it's a second point.
But it is I think also important to make a reference to Prometheus, to the Prometeic spirit of the human culture,
Yes.
Yeah, that is that is to be confident in our intelligence, because this is another point, that human intelligence is under is contrasted, is considered a bad thing, because everything we do is bad, and it's wasting the planet, and so on and so on.
It's a very elevated discourse. This is a highly intelligent concepts and good rationales. This is very elevated. This is not low-level culture. This is very important. It's significant.
Exactly. And that is
influential.
It is also resonating with what we say about supporting human intelligence and prizing human intelligence.
But I think this could then be a second book. Because I know the discussions with my colleagues who are who are thinking in this direction, and it's often waste of time.
I understand.
It's waste of time.
I understand. It's a big discourse. It's not just
it's a waste of time.
Yes, but I think it's important. It's important.
I didn't understand that something was a waste of time.
Important to put
it's a second book.
To put an element in this paper that we try to put together, to put an element, an item about that, even if not a complete discussion about that.
Item about what? I'm sorry, I got bad. All right, okay, all right, I'll forget it. All right, okay, bye.
Okay. Denis.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for participating.
Dinis and Marie-Luise, thank you so much, and Adriano.
Yes, Amalie, thank you very much that you are participating.
Okay. So please.
Shout to the US.
Please, before we close.
London. I see you.
Oh, you're in London. Okay.
Before we close.
I'll come over there, see you.
Before we close.
Bye.
Before we close, please, all turn on the camera so we can say hello each other. Okay.
I'm not hiding anymore.
Okay.
Right. Oh, look, we have another visitor.
Hi. Yes, we have Guellin. I have to apologize with you because I was sure that I added to the Space Philosophy Committee, but I hadn't. So you didn't know about this meeting?
No, I didn't, but I'm happy to step in. Mostly I work late hours, so I was behind my computer anyway. So,
however, listen. I make a lot of mistakes because I'm working too much, and I continue each day. I make a lot of mistakes, And please don't blame me. And I am happy that you are here. And but you will see the recorded video, so you can see from the beginning what we were trying to do today. Okay.
Thank you very much. So no worries. I received your
Thanks to
email on
you.
time,
Thanks to you.
and I was here just 15 minutes later. It's a fantastic conversation. As just mentioned, it's a really very high level, elevated discourse. It's interesting to see how we can contribute to this going forward. Thank you very much for involving me.
Yeah.
Thanks to you for being here. And this was, of course, a kind of brainstorming because we have initiated a yard now. And okay. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Marie-Luise, for your very, very big work. And I'm happy, and I have to thank you very much. And have a nice Christmas, a happy Christmas, happy New Year. And let's see each other next year at this point, I think. Okay?
Yes, ciao.
Bye.
Ad
Bye
astra.
bye.
Ad astra.